All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Giant Sports Talk Live morning edition here on a Thursday morning. No Giants baseball today. We're in Seattle. Yeah, exactly. It's an off day. Gonna have to wait till Friday until we can talk Giants baseball. But yesterday afternoon, Glenn, you're at the park. That was a tough game to watch, especially there in the ninth inning.
Eric, everybody was very pensive in the ninth inning when all of a sudden we didn't see our ace pop out of the dugout, but we did see guys running in chaotically one after another from the bullpen. And, I turned to a guy behind me. His name was Chris. New friend. I usually sit in the same seats with the season tickets over in section 321. Chris, if you're out there in the audience, good morning to you. You're probably not here. You're probably in bed with the most sane people. But I turned to him. I go, look, here we are with Bivens pitching. What the hell is he doing in there in the bottom of the or top of the ninth, I should say? And I said, this just smells of a loss because they had the bases loaded. The worst team in baseball had the bases loaded. And did you see who was at the plate with the bases loaded? Their worst hitter on the worst team, Corey Lee, the catcher.
Yeah, he looked awful.
Single to center field.
And he gets a single.
Corey Joke scored. Andrew Benintendi scored. Luis Robert, who's had a pretty good series. I like what I said. No wonder everybody wanted to trade for that guy. And then Sosa single to left center where Lee scored and Joke scored. They ripped it open in the ninth inning, and I just blame people don't like hearing it, but I blame the managerial decisions going to the bull. I don't know. Eric,
I don't understand.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Guys the guy threw 8 innings. You got to trust your bullpen. Well, the problem is we can't trust our bullpen, Eric. We don't even know who the reliever is, Eric. A closer.
Yeah, it was a bit rough. I went on a diatribe last night, talking about that. If Webb could go 8 innings, why couldn't he have gone out there for the ninth? And if you put a guy on, then you go to the bullpen. So I think they should have at least gave him a chance. We heard those excuses about him being sick, whatever. I mean, we played the interview. I mean, again, you can't make too much out of it, but the way his body language, the way he was talking, you could tell, maybe he could have gone out there for the ninth inning, but whatever. Yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it is what it is. In that interview you played, anybody who wasn't with us, you should go back and check our early portions of the show. Eric played an interview that was aired, and it featured one Logan Webb. And I felt, for lack of a better word, you tell me if I'm wrong, Eric, I said he was towing the company line. Could you go out there and pitch another inning? And you see he's pondering his answer very carefully.
Then he talked about predetermination.
It was predetermined before the game that I wouldn't pitch. I'm like, and that's when I started getting in a rampage of my own last night, Eric. Losing. Here I am this morning getting all bent out of shape again. And I get all sweaty. And then how can you go into a ball game, Eric, and have it? Are we talking Farhan baseball? Is it predetermined what we're going to do?
I don't like that. And it sounds bad too, doesn't it? I mean, come on. Look, I understand. You got numbers out the wazoo to determine what a player's doing, not doing. I get it. If a player's throwing so many pitches, after so many pitches, he may start to wind down. But you know what? Yes, have that in the back of your mind, but watch how the game is unfolding. If the guy is doing well, then you keep him out there. Keep going to him. If it looks like he's starting to struggle, then you pull him, right?
Yeah. I mean, and I don't have anything I can, I'm not pulling any statistics off the table or situations that off the top of my head. But how often do you see this come up, Eric, with Giants and any other team where they do this on a consistent basis and they're in control of the game and they lose it right at the end? And it always seems to happen. But we also see guys who are in there and there seems to be no happy medium. The manager, you go, geez, he's waiting a long time to pull this pitcher out, and he lets him go and lets him go until it's too late.
Right, then it's too late.
Yep. So I don't know. Managerial moves. It's not like when I was a kid. We were talking baseball cards last night on the show. Back when I was collecting cards, they even had manager cards when I was a kid. And I watched baseball with my dad, and it seemed like a simpler game. You knew when guys would stay in. It was like you could manage on a professional level as a 12-year-old at home. Now, Eric, I don't know what to make of Major League Baseball and the rules and the managerial moves anymore.
And and to kind of just go on a quick tangent here, we talked about this in the chat couple of nights ago, where there's some ideas being floated where there's going to be minimum innings a starting pitcher can go. Remember? And so this is what I don't understand what Major League Baseball is doing with this, as far as, hey, let's legislate this game to the point to where the manager can't even manage. And that's one thing I do not like about the over reliance on analytics, when you're just taking the entire control of the game out of the manager's hands, right? I mean, I understand you got freaking computers all over the place that can determine certain things, but sometimes you just got to watch to see how everything is unfolding. You got to have that quote unquote
absolutely, Eric. And by the way, 6-2 final score yesterday. Now we've got baseball this morning, so we keep going. Yap. Eric's mouth like a pair of those chattering teeth. We'll be here all
go, man.
Let's get into it. The Yankees are playing Cleveland, Eric.
Yes, they are. That's the first game at 10:05 Pacific. Got the Cleveland Guardians going up against the New York Yankees, the Bronx Bombers. Speaking of the Bronx Bombers, Aaron Judge yesterday hit a couple of dingers. He's sitting at number 47 for the year right now. Let's see if he can get to 60. Anyways, you got Gavin Williams going for the Guardians, Garrett Cole going for the Yankees.
You know, in the Washington game today, that'll be over at Nationals Park in Washington. That's also an early start. It'll be on the Major League Baseball Network at 10:05 Pacific time this morning. I can't believe that Patrick Corbin, he's a name I know, Eric, but he's 2-12. Has his career gone that far south?
Yeah, it has. It's pretty bad.
Wow. Left-handed pitcher Patrick Corbin up against Cal Quantrill, who's at 500 this year, 8-8. The righty versus the lefty. Quantrill, the right-handed pitcher. Corbin, the left-handed pitcher. Nationals Park, another early game today, 10:05 here in the Bay Area.
And a little bit later in the morning, 11:15 a.m., the matchup between the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals walked it off in dramatic fashion yesterday with Arenado going deep to clinch that game. It's going to be Freddie Peralta for the Milwaukee Brewers and Miles Mikolas going for the Cardinals. Again, the Cardinals are right behind the Giants. They're in the hunt to try to get a wild card position.
It's a travel day, Eric. That's why we got so many games starting early in the day. Detroit's over in Chicago. They'll be heading out by plane after the game, so it starts at 11:20 our time this morning here in the San Francisco and surrounding areas, our broadcast location. It's on ESPN Plus if you have that and you want to catch some ball. Detroit, they will send H.I. undecided. He is undecided versus Justin Steele. He's worth the price of admission, Eric.
Yeah,
he can be so good and so bad. You never know what you're getting. So always a fun time when he's on the hill. Chicago hosts Detroit on a getaway day with tickets. Are you kidding me? This is like Oakland Athletics prices. You can go to the Cubs game today for the low price of just $1.
That's weird. Here, let me make sure I'm not cutting that off. Nope. Wait, I am cutting it off, ain't I? No, it's 19. Sorry about that. See, I had it zoomed in.
I need the little board goes, take two. You can go to the game for the low price of $19. Back to you,
My
Eric.
bad. I had it zoomed in a little bit too much.
You're making me look bad.
That's still really cheap. That's really.
It doesn't take that much to make us look bad. All right, Eric, we got a game in Oakland. That's a noontime start around 12:30.
Yeah, it's Tampa Bay Rays against Oakland Athletics. Jeffrey Springs versus Osvaldo Bido. Hey, speaking of Bido, the guy tossed a good game against the Giants. He's not so bad. We'll see how.
I said to you the other day when we were doing one of these wraps, I said, Eric, we do them so often, and we're on the air every day. Pre-game in the morning, we do one at night, post-game. I said, Jesus, Eric, is it just because we're on so frequently? I go, didn't this guy just pitch like a couple of days ago? Bido, I was making fun of him. Here he is. He's pitching again. So that one goes this afternoon. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. I always love tuning in when Paul Skeens pitches. Pittsburgh lost yesterday by the narrowest of margins. I believe it was a 1-0 game. So now they'll open up a weekend series with the Cincinnati Reds. They'll play Pittsburgh. Paul Skeens, $17. That's not a bad price to pay to get in to see a young pitcher like him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nick Lodolo, he's pretty good too for Cincinnati. He's going to be a good pitcher here in the future as well.
Apparently, they put out an ad in the newspaper. Toronto Blue Jays are looking for some of the fans to show up for pitching before the game. They're going to pick a fan to pitch. They don't even know who's pitching either. They've run out of pitchers.
Another undecided. You got the Angels facing off against the Blue Jays in Toronto. You got Griffin Canning going for the Angels. As you said, someone off the street will be pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays.
And I mean, to go to the well with that one, probably once too often, but at the trade deadline, when we had just our second show, our first show, wasn't it? No, our second show on the air. We did a trade deadline show. It seemed like every 15 minutes, Toronto has traded somebody.
Trading a pitcher.
And they're all pitchers. So quite literally, the Blue Jays have run out of pitchers. Houston at Baltimore, Spencer Arrighetti up against Corbin Burns. A lot of people say they'd like to see Burns throwing with the Giants in the future. You want to see him throw today? It goes down at 4:08 today on Fox.
Would love to see Corbin Burns in orange and black and no longer in the black and orange. How about that? There we go.
How about that? There you go.
Philadelphia in Atlanta. Philadelphia was able to pull off the win yesterday. I think if I'm not mistaken, they won 3-2. Today, you got Christopher Sanchez going for the Phillies against Spencer Schwallenbach for the Atlanta Braves. We'll see how that pans out. Again, Atlanta Braves still hanging on to that third spot in the wild card.
Eric, I got to ask you a question. Here I am in our studios in San Francisco. You're up in Northern California. Did I miss something on the cap? Today's not a holiday, is it?
Negative.
Well, why? I'm kind of shocked. That Baltimore game's going to be broadcast nationally on Fox on a Thursday afternoon.
Oh, yeah, that is weird.
Or early evening, I guess. But for us, it's late afternoon. That's a nat. When did they start doing Thursday Fox games on Major League Baseball?
Yeah, that is interesting. That's a good point. I'm not sure.
Anybody wants to touch on that, you can join us for our Giant Sports Talk Live coming up tonight at 8. We'll have an hour edition because it is an off day. And we'll be talking not only Major League Baseball, we'll talk some NFL football briefly. It is a Giant Sports Talk show, but we have got all our Giants crew from the chat. The main guys over there want to have a football pool, so we'll talk about that. One other game before we wrap this up. New York is in San Diego. Now, this is a hell of a series. Luis Severino is up against Dylan Cease. Yep. Just checking to see if there was a pitching change. Mine came up as undecided for the Mets, but it is, in fact, now Severino versus Cease, 6:40 p.m. That'll be a late start. So what we will be doing while we are talking fantasy football and some Major League Baseball tonight, we'll be able to check in on the scoreboard. That'll be in progress during Giants Sports Talk Live. We'll join you for that tonight at 8 o'clock, Eric.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then let's take a look at the standings before we get out of here. Arizona Diamondbacks sitting atop of the first wild card. San Diego Padres, they're tied with the Diamondbacks, but they're fulfilling the second place of the wild card. And Atlanta Braves, as I stated earlier, are securing the third wild card. At this time, of course, it could change. New York Mets, they're breathing down the neck of the Braves. You got they're only 1.5 games out from the third wild card. Giants still sitting 3.5 back. They couldn't gain any ground because of that loss. And then, of course, you got the Cardinals, Reds, and Cubs right behind the Giants to make their move. Do they make their move? Well, we'll see. We still got another, just over a month and 10 days worth of baseball left. So we'll see what happens.
It's funny how the odds lines, the bet lines can change, right? You bring that up again, Eric. Take a look at that game. You got the New York Mets. They are in San Diego tonight. So
the schedule?
No, but on the standings there, you got the Mets. Oh. Look where they're at in the standings, Eric. And I know San Diego is a better team as far as the standings. But look how hot the Mets have been. They find themselves just a tick and a half behind Atlanta. See in the win column, just a game in the win column. Tonight's a big game for the Mets. And
yes, it will be a big game.
They're paying 135 the bet line tonight. Bet Online has them at 135. A couple other odds makers have them at 133. Bookmaker has them at 133. Padres are heavy favorites. Do not, when you're cashing your ticket tonight, don't count out the New York Mets.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, you got Dylan Cease, so that's going to be tough. It won't be easy. But they also got Luis Severino, who pitched a complete game shutout, I think, his last.
Former Yankee.
Yep,
Former
absolutely.
Yankees, now with the Mets, so he loves New York.
He does.
Handles the
He does.
pressure. He's 8-6 going into that game, by the way, and Cease was 12-9. Cease got off to a rough start. His first game of the season was against the San Francisco Giants. I was at that game over at Petco Park. And what a great afternoon for ball that was. Anyway, Eric, I am going to rest up. I got a little too much sun yesterday. Can you tell? Oh, I'm sore.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rest up today. We have an off day. Well, technically we don't. We're back here tonight at 8.
Tonight at 8. Exactly. We'll talk
Enjoy
some
your
Giants.
baseball, everybody. Enjoy your ball, and we will catch you back here, recap, and some fantasy football. And, you know, when Eric and I get chatting, and we get guys in from the chat joining, it's a free-for-all. It's going to be free-for-all tonight here in Giant Sports Talk Live. We'll see you then, Eric.
All right, we'll see you tonight, Glenn. We'll see you tonight as well. See ya.